The Irrational Confidence Podcast. Arizona, the Wildcats are going there to face the Kansas State Wildcats in Manhattan, Kansas. Right now, time of record, Kansas State is a 7-point favorite. Over-under is set at 57.5. Fresh. Both these teams coming off a lackluster performance, I guess, from week number 2 after big wins in week 1 over subpar opponents. Everyone's going to put the attention on Fafita and Avery Johnson there. I think there's some other stuff that we can talk about with this one, but what you got with Arizona versus K-State?
First off, folks, they're both in the Big 12, but this is actually not a Big 12 game. If you look at the contract, this was actually signed and put in place as a non-conference matchup a couple of years ago. The rest of the schedule goes Big 12. This has no implication on the race, but funny enough, they might actually meet for the Big 12 title down the road. So, to get that out of the way, there's nothing on the line from that perspective, but it is a chance to get a ranked win and help your stock and stay undefeated for one of these programs. I like how you mentioned last week, week 2, both teams kind of struggled. Well, K-State went to Tulane, not exactly a raucous environment, but rainy, 11 a.m. down there in New Orleans. Tulane's a very good football team. I think Boise State, Tulane, and Memphis are the 3 best group of 5.5 now at the Pac-12 or Pac-2 programs. So they put up a fight. They give K-State all they can handle, and they're going to be heard from later on in the season. But that right there, I think, gets K-State battle-tested. On the other side, Arizona gave up 30 points 2 weeks ago to New Mexico, and they struggled versus Northern Arizona, and they had to come back late to win that ball game. And it kind of makes you wonder what's left of this Arizona program. Did some guys graduate? Did some of them follow up to Washington? What are they going after? Is it just are they more than just McMillan and Fafita? And so that's really has to get you sort of, what's the team looking ahead to K-State? Were they just trying to go through the motions, or are there a lot of kinks in the armor there down in Tucson that's going to bubble up at some point during the season? It got kind of scary watching the line late at night where they're struggling, they're losing. Why was Arizona getting plus 2 points against Northern Arizona? That's a problem. But that's kind of the way it went down. Looking at this ball game straight up, see, Friday night, standalone game, 8 p.m., Fox, nationally televised, a chance for the world to really see Noah Fafita and Tatara McMillan play. Usually in the past, it's been, all right, they're on the West Coast. We're not going to get the game till 9, 9:30, 10 o'clock, 10:30. I know the year that the game that they both showed up on last year, they beat USC, that was a 10 o'clock start Eastern time. So nobody really watched it. You saw all the highlights when you woke up the next morning. This is a chance for them to get a chance to showcase their skills. You need a big matchup in a hostile environment here in Manhattan. Want to see how they handle that road trip, how they understand the schematics, the magnitude of the ball game, and come through and just deliver it. Don't let it become too much. Does anyone else in this Wildcat football team step up to help K-State and help the two of them? Defeat K-State and help the two of them. Where's the offensive line going to do? How's the defense going to handle that, that situation? This is going to be a program defining situation for Arizona. K-State, they've been through these battles. Coach Kleinman and those guys have find ways to every year to build a program, regurgitate, and find players to build the program, develop, and go out there and win. Avery Johnson's a stud. The guy can throw it. The guy can run it. DJ Giddens along with him there at the running back position. The two of them are a nice 1-2 punch. If they can get going, it's, good night, Irene, K-State all the way. Arizona's defense has to show up. I mentioned earlier, they gave up over 39. I think it was like 39 points to New Mexico. 2 weeks ago in our week 1 recap, we talked about their quarterback just going off on them. This defense for Arizona's got to find a way to step up and show up on Friday night. If not, they're going to get blown out. People will start seeing that maybe they aren't as great as everyone thinks they are, and they were more of last year's squad and not this year's squad. K-State's going to win. They're going to need to run the football and run the football heavily. You kind of look at defensively, Arizona's giving up 334 yards total offense per game and 24.5 points. They're giving up 150 yards per game on the ground. They've got to shut it down because K-State's a run-first football team, and they're going to have some corn-fed boys pounding that line of scrimmage all day long. You're going to have to start being much more fine on your gap control. You're going to have to wrap up right off the back. If not, K-State's going to run left, right, and around them all day long. So far this season, to add more layers to that run game philosophy for K-State, they've thrown for only 347 yards in 2 games. They've run for 498, and they're averaging 7.8 yards a carry. Again, Kansas State is averaging 7.8 yards a carry. If the Arizona defense that played the last 2 weeks shows up, that might be 9 for the season by the end of the ballgame. They've got to find a way to tackle and wrap up. K-State, just body them, run them down the road. You don't have to get fancy. Do what you do. Run the football, play stud defense, lock it down, and you'll get to W. In the end, I think K-State's a more well-balanced football team. Being at home obviously adds more. I think they win, and I think they cover that 7.
Fresh, I watched the end of that K-State Tulane game. K-State, that game should have at least gone to overtime. That was one of the worst pass interference calls I've ever seen. And I don't know how you call a pick play like that when the defender makes the initial contact there. There's a lot of questions I had after watching K-State handle Tulane. When I dove into Arizona, one of the things I noticed is that last week they had a bunch of different names on their offensive line, which kind of raised a question to me. And I found out that they had been dealing with different little injuries, some sickness over there in Arizona, that they actually had to kind of patchwork a line together against Northern Arizona University. And it really did give Fafita some issues. And he wound up being pressured a whole lot in that football game. You know, you're right when it comes down to this. If K-State's going to win the ball this game, it is going to have to be a game where DJ Gittens goes off. He is going to have to run the ball. He's got to get I need to see like $135 out of him. Maybe a score, maybe 2. One rushing, 1 receiving touchdown with him. Because McMillan has this amazing week 1 for Arizona. And I refer to him as the human Tetris game because the dude just stacks catches and touchdowns on one on top of the other until he explodes the board here. So he in last week only had 2 catches for under 20 yards, if I remember right. I think it was around to like 11 or 12. He's going to get some revenge. And with how Tulane was able to throw the ball against K-State, I think Arizona is going to look to kind of almost, I hate to say it, but abandon the run. Now, is K-State able to double team them? You know, their second leading receiver is Conley, the running back, and he didn't play. He played this past weekend. But I'm looking for Patterson or Hyatt or somebody on this team, another wide receiver for Arizona to step up. They need to do that because I have a feeling that they're going to need to throw the ball all over the field because Avery Johnson and Giddens are going to do what they do on a normal basis. I'm looking at this. The over-under is set at, 57.5. I think it's going to be right around there. I'd be tempted to take the over in this game. I don't think they're going to play a lot of defense. I think this is going to be a high-flying affair, throwing the ball all over the field there. You know, though, as much as I love K-State and I love the fans in Manhattan, Kansas, I love everything that we've ever seen from the state of Kansas with how they've supported this podcast, I'm going with the Arizona Wildcats in this. I almost just said I'm taking the Wildcats to win.
I hope so.
I won't be wrong. But I'm going to take Arizona to win this. And even if I didn't take it, I would take Arizona the points in this one. So give me that +7 in Arizona because I think that they got the firepower to keep this close. I really don't feel like K-State is a full touchdown favorite over them. I think I would say this is a field goal game. But I'm going to say Arizona 31, K-State 30 in this game. I'm saying point game.
31-30? That would be a great shooting off for Friday night. That'd be good watch for TV.
Oh, it's going to be phenomenal. I like both of these teams. This is a hard one for me to pick because of how much I like both these teams and some of the players on it.
I think that, even though it's not a conference game, that's the Big 12. There's so many intriguing teams. They're all well balanced, a lot of parity in the league. And that's why the games are so great across the season as it plays out.